back to New York Talk. This is the Scouting Report, and we're looking ahead to this weekend's opponent, which is Middlesbrough. We have Dana from Boro Breakdown joining us. How are you doing?
I'm all right, Matt. Thank you. How are you?
Well, I'm all right. Outside of football, I'm doing very well. Thank you. Let's talk about Boro. Obviously, we didn't speak pre the first game. Talking about the season so far, from the outside, it seems typical Boro. It seems you have a very, very poor start, and everything kind of clicks, and you go up the right end of the table. Is that fair, or is that fair?
No, I'd say that's fair. I think that's kind of become our brand at the moment, Matt. We had a slow start under Wilder. We had a slow start this season, and we managed to finally crack those 3 points at the end of September against Southampton, which is, I'm not going to sit here and say it's quite a while away into the season, but I think it's quite a while away to get that first win. So yeah, it's been, I think, inconsistent it's been for us this season. Even after that slow start, we did pick up a little bit. We registered a few wins in a row, looked really solid. It looked like we were having a similar ascent to last season, but yeah, injuries have kind of held us back, and a unavailability in not just injuries, actually, suspensions, and now the Asian Cup. It's kind of held us back a little bit, but we're hoping to break into the top six. I mean, we're, I think, a point off it, so you never know. Good January, and hopefully we can get into that top six.
Was it maybe not expect the poor size of the start? Maybe not expected, but there was a lot of lone players, and obviously the top, Akram left last season. Was it almost expected that it wouldn't be as sort of plain sailing as the end of last season was?
I mean, I can sit here and say yes, but that's only with hindsight. I mean, I sat here and said that I think we'll finish second in our pre-season predictions, and I feel like that's already given me egg on my face. Yeah, I mean, it's really difficult, isn't it, when you have someone as influential as Akpom leaving, and Archer and Giles. There's a lot of pieces to that jigsaw last season that were such key pivotal parts of the way that Michael Carrick set up his team. And especially in the case of Giles, our whole setup really revolved around him having that left-hand side all to himself. So we've really had to find that balance. And I think it took time to find that balance and that right formula. And yeah, in hindsight, it probably was to be expected, but given how good last season was, you do have that expectation that things are just going to continue as they were and as they were towards the back end of last season. And you know what football's like, Matt. It's never as plain sailing as what you want it to be.
Exactly. Know all about that. One man I do want to talk about is Dan Barlaser, loved by basically all Rotherham fans. Just talk about his time, because when I look from social media, it looks like he's not had the smoothest run so far. For you guys, talk to me about Dan.
Yeah, you know what? He's getting into his groove at the moment. It did take him a while. He was obviously a January signing from last season. He was probably the one out of the contingent of players that we brought in, Archer and Ramsey. I can't remember who else we signed in January, actually, but he was the one that didn't quite click initially, and it's taken him a little while to do so, but we're seeing it now with him. I think he's really having an influence. He's stepped up in the absence of Hayden Hackney, who was out for a couple of weeks. Lewis O'Brien has only just come back into the squad. He got injured in September. So it's been him and Howson, and I really like him. I think that his passing ability, his range, his vision is everything that I've wanted from a Boro midfielder, to be honest. We've had players that are just spinning tops. They'll spin, and then they'll pass back, and then we'll go on that lovely move of passing it from centre midfielder to centre half to right back to centre midfielder to centre half, and you do that good old dance. And with Barlaser, he tries to see those opportunities, doesn't he? As you'll know all too well, he's a really good midfielder at just finding those runs, and he's adding a little bit more to his game. I think I probably did him dirty pigeonholing him as just a passer, but actually on the ball he's pretty good. You know, he's dribbling, he's got himself out of trouble a few times, and he's slowly winning people over. He got a lot of pelters, a lot of criticism. Pretty much like I'd say maybe a month ago, he was getting a lot of stick, and now he's really coming into his own and really performing. 2 really good performances against Premier League sides, Aston Villa and Chelsea. They've done him the world of good. He's a really good midfielder, a good asset for us, and I'm glad to see that he's starting to shine now in our midfield.
Yeah, me too. I love the guy. Such a nice guy as well. That does take us kind of back to the Boxing Day game where we somehow won. But Barlaser was excellent. I thought everything good from Boro came through Barlaser.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, because we sat on the podcast and almost laughed for an hour because we couldn't believe that we'd won that game. It was just an absolute joke. I assume it was just just talk me through the thoughts on that game because it was just a mad game, really.
Yeah, I watched the second half. Didn't catch the first half. I caught the second half in the car on the way home from Leicester because I was visiting family for Christmas. And you know what? When I saw that goal go in, I was like, yep, this is very Boro this season. We have conceded so many shit goals, but also some wonder strikes that you will only see once or twice in a season. Matt, we've got a whole collection of them against us. So when that went in, I was not surprised, but it's kind of one way you just... God, you put your head in your hand and you think, for God's sake, why does this keep happening to us? But to be honest, that all happened because we didn't take our chances. And that's been another story of our season of when you don't have Akpom on fire, when you don't have Archer, 11 goals, 6 assists in what felt like about 2 minutes, then you don't have that quality up front. And I think it's kind of showing. Although what I will say is that Corburn's been injured this season. Lath's been injured this season. They're both out injured at the moment. We've got one striker and it's Marcus Force, who's actually played right wing for us for the most part under Michael Carrick. So that probably hasn't helped. But at the same time, like if you don't take your chances, then you're kind of asking for it. So yeah, I feel like that was a very typical Boro kind of game, unfortunately for us.
Yeah, that's right. That's fair. The January transfer window is obviously wide open. I assume it's a busy January for Boro with the League Cup games as well. It's quite a busy month. But with the injury situation, I assume it's quite important to get a decent amount of work deals done. Obviously, as soon as possible. But it's important to get quite a few players in, I assume.
Yeah, we've done well so far recruiting Finn Azaz from Aston Villa, obviously really excelled at Plymouth. And then we brought in Luke Ayling on loan from Leeds as well, just to add a little bit of quality. And I mean, I hate saying this, but it is experience in the back line as well. Excuse me. So, 2 really good signings there to start things off. And we've brought them in really early as well. One of the criticisms that Boro fans definitely give to the club and the recruitment team is that we take far too long to actually sign a player. So the fact that we brought them in early is good. We just need a striker. I mean, you said it in your voice note to us, you need one as well. I think there's a lot of teams in the Championship that are in need of a striker. There seems to be a bit of a dying breed, don't there? There's just a clinical lack of availability from number 9s, but that's kind of what we need, just to add a final piece to the jigsaw. But honestly, if we can get a number 9 in and a quality one, not just signing a striker for the sake of it, then I think we could sneak into the top 6. We've got a really talented squad. It's just not really come together because of injuries and a lack of availability. So I think at one point we had a full team out that was actually better than the team we were putting out, including goalkeeper. So yeah, it's been one of those. But what I will say about that as well, there's so many teams in the Championship that are experiencing that, and in the Premier League as well. There's a lot of injuries going on. So don't know what's happening with football. I think it's a bit broken, but yeah, good January. Yeah, a good January, and I think we might just sneak into the playoffs.
Yeah, we're experiencing. We've still only got one fit centre half at the club, and that's been since about November. So everybody's it's been a weird season for injuries. Very weird.
Yeah,
hopefully it gets better for everybody soon, sorry for us, because we're desperate. We are now, we're 30 games without an away win, I think it is now. So how much dread does that fill you with? Bearing in mind also the Boxing Day game as well. Does that just double it as well?
You know what? It feels like we played you about a week ago. So it's weird the way that the fixture list has kind of made this fall so soon after that Boxing Day game. Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it, where you hear a stat like that and you think, bloody hell, you know what's happening now. I mean, we were saying off air, weren't we, that you said that people have been saying that for ages and still hasn't quite happened. As a Boro fan, I'm always inclined to believe that we will be typical Boro and probably assist you in a victory on Saturday, but we should have enough quality to do it. But I think it comes back to what I was discussing there about the Boxing Day game. If we don't take our chances, it'll give you all the confidence to go and ping a cross come shot in again. So yeah, I mean, I hope that we do it. We're in a really good moment at the moment. obviously the cup run has kind of propped that up. And I think that people might say that can make or break a season in terms of the fixture schedule, but it can really enlist that spirit into a fan base, really connect the fans to the team. And to be fair, the fans have always been connected to Michael Carrick's Middlesbrough, but I think this is an opportunity to, as it always is, to create a run. So I'm just fingers crossed. Nobody scores from the halfway line. Nobody scores from a cross. No centre half pings in from a volley straight out from a corner. I just hope that we get the job done.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll do our very best to help you get the job done. Will it be in terms of style from Boro? Is it going to be the same kind of thing as Boxing Day? Positive, move the ball forward quickly, that kind of thing still?
Yeah, it will be. It'll be possession-based football, try to circulate the ball to create an opening. We're not getting the ball in the box as much as what we did last season. We don't have that wonderful left foot in Ryan Giles. So kind of, again, as I said earlier, we've tried to change the way that we play. We tried to find a new formula, and at the moment it's working. And I think you'll see us try to be patient. We were probably a little bit too patient against you guys. We just kept trying to walk the ball in. It was weird. But I think we'll try to add that clinical edge to us. Marcus Forss potentially playing up front will be very interesting. He's not really played up there for us, bar a spell off the bench against Millwall. So to see him, how his all-round game is, that's going to be a point of intrigue from a Middlesbrough perspective. But he's a very good finisher, so we might not have the same troubles as we did back at your place. But yeah, it'll be largely the same formula. We have switched it a little bit recently. We've been playing with a back five, but that's only in the cup because I think we've had to against Chelsea and Villa. But we'll be 4-2-3-1 and basically as generalised as I could put it, a patient possession play and try to create opportunities that way.
Fair enough. And let's finish on a prediction. The best part of everybody loves. What's your prediction for Saturday afternoon?
Oh, I think I went for 2-0 on ours. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with that. But you never know. You never know. We do usually give the opposition a shit goal, so we might give you a shit goal. I don't know, but yeah, I'm gonna back Boro and say 2-0.
Fair enough. That's probably about right. Thank you very much, Dana. We will put the links to Boro Breakdown in the show description if anyone wants any to listen to the review, which I'm on. Preview? Preview. A preview of the Bottom game. We'll put all the links in there as well. Thank you everyone for watching who've been with us. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, and all the stuff that we normally ask you to do. And again, thank you very much, Dana. Thank you for being with us tonight.
No worries. Thank you.
And everybody, up the Mills.